Greetings, adventurers! I'm Max, the Master of Dungeons, and you're watching Once Upon a Tabletop. Here I talk about some of the cool things from the latest edition of Dungeons & Dragons, as well as answer questions from gamers new and old. Let's get the die rolling this week by answering some adventurer questions. Question number 1. What is the Adventurers League? The Dungeons & Dragons Adventurers League is an organized play campaign set up by Wizards of the Coast. Every few months, the Adventurers League starts what's called a storyline season. The storyline season consists of a set of linked adventures and themed plot elements that give a kind of continuity to play. And of course, the rotation of a storyline season gives you the opportunity to generate a new character and start a new adventure. Of course, you can also keep playing the same character through multiple storyline seasons as long as your character meets the level requirements for the adventures in that season. The current season features the storyline Tyranny of Dragons, which consists of the Horde of the Dragon Queen, the Rise of Tiamat, as well as a set of Dungeons & Dragons expeditions, which you can play at your local gaming stores, your gaming convention, or any publicly accessible game day event. In order to play in the Adventurers League, you're going to have to head over to DungeonsandDragons.com and download a copy of the following: the basic rules for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, a 5th edition character sheet, a Dungeons & Dragons Adventurers League log sheet, and a copy of the Dungeons & Dragons Adventurers League Player's Guide. Additionally, you're also going to need a DCI number. A DCI number is an official Wizards of the Coast organized play identification number. You can obtain it simply by asking one of the organizers at a public event or the owner of your local gaming store. They can set you up. Question number 2. What is multiclassing and how does it work? Multiclassing allows you to diversify your character even further by allowing them to level up in multiple classes. Now, to show you how multiclassing works, let's say that you're a level 5 ranger. When you get enough experience points to level up to level 6, rather than going to level 6 as a ranger, you can decide to take a level of, let's say, rogue. So what you're going to have is you're going to have 5 levels of ranger and 1 level of rogue. When you take that first level of rogue, you're going to obtain some of the features and proficiencies of that class at first level. So as a 5th level ranger, you should already have the following features: favorite enemy, natural explorer, your fighting style, spellcasting, your ranger archetype, primeval awareness, and an extra attack. Now when you take that first level of rogue, you gain the following features: expertise, sneak attack, thieves' cant, 1 proficiency off the class's skill list, as well as proficiency with thieves' tools. So to level up from this point, you have to take the level from each class you're multiclassing in and add it together. The sum of these numbers is what's going to be called your character level. Now in our example, a level 5 ranger and a level 1 rogue adds together to make a level 6 character. To advance from this point, we need to earn enough experience points to take our character level from 6th level to 7th level. Now once you've reached that point, you can then choose whether you want to gain another level in one class or the other. Advanced rogue to level 2 or advanced ranger to level 6. Your choice. Make sure though, before you multiclass, take a real good look at what features you're going to gain by multiclassing. Question number 3. Isn't there an online version of Dungeons & Dragons? Yes. As well as the tabletop role-playing game, there are also several digital games which are set within the Dungeons & Dragons universe. Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, Icewind Dale, Neverwinter, Dungeons & Dragons Online, and of course Sword Coast Legends, which is set to release later this year. For console, you've got Chronicles of Mystara and Neverwinter for Xbox One, which is set to release March 31st. Now it's time for Creature Feature, where we talk about one of the creatures from the new 5th edition Monster Manual. Today's contestant, the Owlbear. The owlbear's reputation for ferocity, aggression, stubbornness, and sheer ill temper makes it one of the most feared predators of the wild. There is little of anything that a hungry owlbear fears. Even monsters that outmatch an owlbear in size and strength avoid tangling with it. For this creature cares nothing about a foe's superior strength as it attacks without provocation. Scholars have long debated the origins of the owlbear. The most common theory is that a demented wizard created the first specimen by crossing a giant owl with a bear. However, venerable elves claim to have known these creatures for thousands of years, and some Fae insist that owlbears have always existed in the Fae wild. As for stats, the owlbear is considered a large monstrosity. It has natural armor with an AC of 13, 59 hit points, a speed of 40 feet, it has a +5 in strength, a +1 in dexterity, a +3 in constitution, a -4 in intelligence, a +1 in wisdom, and a -2 in charisma. It has a +3 perception bonus, dark vision up to 60 feet, and a passive perception of 13. It's a challenge rating of 3, which grants you 700 experience points for defeating it. It has keen sight and smell, which gives it advantage on perception checks based on sight or smell. It has a multi-attack. Its beak has a +7 to hit and deals 1d10 +5 piercing damage. Its claws also have a +7 to hit and deal 2d8 +5 slashing damage. Needless to say, exercise extreme caution when dealing with one of these. Now we'll get back to the adventurer questions. Question number 4. What kind of characters do you play in Dungeons & Dragons? In the current Adventurers League storyline season, I play a half-elf ranger and his wolf companion, along with a half-elf bard and a dragonborn fighter. Question number 5. What is downtime? Downtime is time spent in between adventures. At the end of each adventure, you accumulate what's called downtime days. Downtime days can be spent to do a number of different things. You can use them for crafting things, practicing a profession, recuperating, researching, as well as training to learn other skills or languages. Keep in mind that each activity requires a certain amount of downtime days to complete. Question number 6. How many languages are there in Dungeons & Dragons? In total, there are 16 languages that are spoken within the Dungeons & Dragons universe. They're broken up into 2 sets. Standard languages and exotic languages. Standard languages you have Common, Dwarvish, Elvish, Giant, Gnomish, Goblin, Halfling, and Orc. Exotic languages you have Abyssal, Celestial, Draconic, Deep Speech, Infernal, Primordial, Sylvan, and Undercommon. You can find the complete list of languages and their primary speakers in either the Player's Handbook or the Basic Rules. Now it's time for the Equipment Emporium, where we talk about some of the magic items and adventuring gear featured in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. Today we're going to talk about the Bag of Holding. The Bag of Holding has an interior space considerably larger than its outside dimensions, roughly 2 feet in diameter at the mouth and 4 feet deep. The bag can hold up to 500 pounds, not exceeding a volume of 64 cubic feet. The bag weighs 15 pounds regardless of its contents. Retrieving an item from the bag requires an action. If the bag is overloaded, pierced, or torn, it ruptures and is destroyed, and its contents are scattered in the astral plane. If the bag is turned inside out, its contents spill forth unharmed, but the bag must be put right before it can be used again. Breathing creatures inside the bag can survive up to a number of minutes equal to 10 divided by the number of creatures, with a minimum of 1 minute. After that, they begin to suffocate. Placing a bag of holding inside an extra-dimensional space created by a Heward's handy haversack, portable hole, or similar item instantly destroys both items and opens a gate to the astral plane. The gate originates where the one item was placed inside the other. Any creature within 10 feet of the gate is sucked through it to a random location on the astral plane. The gate then closes. The gate is one way only and it can't be reopened. And if you want a real bag of holding to carry all your Dungeons & Dragons supplies, you can pick one up over at thinkgeek.com. We now return you to Adventurer Questions. Question number 7. Can you make up your own race? If you're going to play in the Adventurers League, unfortunately the answer to that is no. However, if you're playing a home-based game, you can do pretty much whatever you want. Question number 8. Can you fight on horseback? Yes, there's actually an entire section on rules for mounted combat in the Player's Handbook. Finally, question number 9. What are D&D expeditions? D&D expeditions are one-shot adventures set within the Adventurers League storyline season. Unfortunately, these adventures are not available for you to play at home. You can, however, go to a gaming convention, a public gaming event, or your local gaming store and play them there. That's all for this week. Thanks for watching. Please head over to Facebook, like my page, subscribe below, and leave questions and things you'd like to see in future videos in the comments. Once again, I'm Max, Master of Dungeons. You've been watching Once Upon a Tabletop. See you next week. Until then, remember to keep calm and roll initiative.